does strength always mean muscle gain? And does muscle gain always mean that you're stronger?
Oh, it's a good, interesting question. A good question. Not necessarily, I think is the answer. So what we do know is that we know your sort of physiological cross-sectional area of a muscle is related to your ability to produce force. So there is a relationship there, but it's kind of only one half of the sort of scenario. We have nervous system factors that can allow us to recruit more motor units and exert more force. So sure, having more muscle should be stronger, but we need to develop the nervous system as well. And that's what we tend to do with our lower rep stuff when we do maximal strength training or power training when we're moving things with speed. And with hypertrophy training, we've got a specific aim to sort of try just gain mass. And that means we just train slightly differently. Yeah.
So it's not specifically about gaining more muscle. Sometimes it's more about your brain being better connected to the muscle.
That's right. So you've got your central drive, or you've got your rate coding down the nerve, or the ability to sort of fire those motor units in the muscle to maybe take away some of the inhibition that you might have in opposite muscles that are sort of looking after you and making sure you don't get injured. So there's quite a few factors in there with regards the nervous system as well.
In regards to the nervous system, is that a genetic thing, or is that something you can actually coach and train or work on yourself? Like, is there a way to teach an athlete that neuromuscular connection?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's something that's definitely a trainable factor. So that's just by, I mean, there's three ways really to drive that. One, you've got to lift a heavy load. One would be to lift a moderate load, but with speed and intent to move it fast. And the third one, which we probably will touch on today with the hypertrophy training, is just by taking by working to failure. So you're recruiting all of your muscle fibers. So
okay.
Be three ways,
Yeah, and a lot of guys, when they jump into the gym, that's their default mode, just train to failure. But with a well structured strength and conditioning program, sometimes you got to be a bit more wise about managing your loads and
that's right,
and things like that.
And you see it in the gym as well. There's a lot of guys go in there and sort of they're just trying to lift as heavy as possible without actually trying to squeeze the muscle group or focus on the muscle group that you're actually training and recruit the correct muscle fibers. So over time, it can sort of be wearing on joints and all that sort of thing, and can lead to injuries. So yeah, that mind-muscle connection that you brought up is definitely super important aspect of hypertrophy or muscle building training.
Yeah.
What about in powerlifting, Dhiren? Do you is that mind-muscle connection as important?
It's super important.
Yep.
If you look at some of the strongest powerlifters in the world, they don't necessarily look like some of the strongest guys in the world. But how they're so strong is because they have this better connected. Their brain is better connected to the muscle through this neuromuscular adaptations.
It's an interesting point that you bring up as well, because I've been following lately a guy probably everyone in the fitness community knows is Norton. He was sort of an ex-bodybuilder and did really well, and then crossed over to powerlifting, and you can actually see he's obviously become a hell of a lot stronger since he's started powerlifting, but he's actually, like, his muscularity in his legs and everything is not, he doesn't carry as much muscle as what he used to when he was bodybuilding. So although he's a lot stronger and more powerful, he's nowhere near as muscular as what he was.
Yeah,
so it's a different style of training for a different purpose.
And you do see some of these bodybuilder guys that really don't have this, the strength that you might think that they have. And it's, the age-old question: is it better to be stronger than you look, or is it better to look stronger than you are?
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on the reason why you're doing it.
Yeah.
But I think most guys that want to get big, they also want to be strong as well. Yeah. So I think strength is definitely part of it.
And I think certainly in a sport, if we talk in a sporting context, like just having mass without like being able to produce force with it and express that force is probably not that useful most of the time.
No.
And maybe on a front rower or something like that where you just mass, it's momentum, but I think most of the time you want to be able to have functional strength.
Functional mass.
Yeah.
So probably age-old question, and probably a question that a lot of people ask when they're first getting into training: type of training program. So you see different types of training program. Like probably the most common when you first get into training is I get in there and I train my whole body, do a full body workout. And I mean, I did that when I first started training. I was doing full body workouts like 5-6 days a week, like an idiot would when you're first training. And then you've got your sort of your split routines where you might just focus on one or two body parts. And then you've got sort of like push-pull routines. Is there any preference that you have or you recommend for someone looking to gain muscle?
I think it depends how much time they can dedicate to training.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So I think if someone's only really able to lift 3 times a week, and say it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Thursday, Saturday, or something like that, for me the preference would still probably be to do 3 whole body workouts.
Yep.
You know? Probably wanting to train each body part 2 to 3 times a week, which I know is against a little bit of bodybuilding principles in historically, where people might train only one part. But then as your number of days go up, probably then start splitting it up a little bit. So I think if you're doing 2 successive days, it's probably best to split it, and whether that's doing an upper lower body, or like you said, a push pull, or even a strength speed variation way of mixing up there. So I've got at the moment with the athletes I work with, most of them lift 3 times a week, but we've got a group of about half a dozen girls who lift 4 times a week. So what we do with them, we do a lower body Monday, an upper body Tuesday, and then full body Thursday and Saturday. So we still train each body part 3 times a week, but that just allows us to get a bit more volume into their training by doing that. So.
Yeah.